Hello guys, and welcome to my veteran Maelstorm Arena guide. This is a guide for the average player by an average player, and this is the final stage. Yes, the final boss. We've made it. If you haven't been here before, you're gonna die. You're gonna die a lot. But as long as we learn from our mistakes, we'll make it. Trust me. Now I like to split this fight up into three parts. So the first part is in a nutshell, pushing the boss over a 70% health margin in order to trigger him into the second part of the fight, where we go up to the top arena, which is kind of like a big donut rock looking thing, where we have to destroy 3 crystals in order to bring him back down to the bottom arena, where we can commence DPS. Obviously there's a ton more things that we need to do in between all that, but what I'm going to do is I'll pause the video at the appropriate spots and explain while we're looking at the arena. It makes much more sense that way. So that's what I'll do. Now, sigils are your friend here. I'm going to tell you when and which ones to use that help me out the most. So I'm assuming that they'll help you out too. Feel free to mix them up if it's not working for you. By all means, there's no use using stuff if it's not working for you. The self-heals of the Nightblade really come into play here. You'll see Soul Tether really coming into its own. But we'll jump right in and we'll get on to the final stage. So as always, whether it's first stage, last stage, as mobs are spawning in, we lay down our AoE and be sure to buff. Now the Theatre of Despair can be quite disorientating. Everything looks very similar, but if you notice the door, I suppose you could call it that, or the gate to the top left of the screen, that's how I orientate myself. It's mainly important for the first spawning in if you wanted to take a sigil. Now, I strongly suggest positioning yourself next to the health regen sigil to start with, because what's going to happen here is the boss is going to spawn in. We're going to get a short window of DPS opportunity. He will throw a ability at us that will knock us back if we're not careful. Have a tendency to dodge roll it or block. I just block. It costs less stamina than to dodge roll, and we need to keep our stamina up. Now after he does that attack, he will teleport to a spot around the arena. It might be behind you, in front of you, to the left, right. But as soon as he throws that ability, I have a tendency to either dodge roll back or move over the health regen sigil, take the health regen sigil, and then run after him wherever he may go. Now when he gets there, he's going to go into a channeling ability where he'll constantly bombard you with bolts, and you're going to need to interrupt that in order to stay alive. I strongly suggest at least popping one shield as you're running, but if you're further away you may have to spam a shield before you get to him just to stay alive. Now once you interrupt that, he'll go immediately into a big AoE attack. Okay, and you're going to need to walk directly away from him, dodge roll back if you can, but just walk if necessary. If you find yourself caught in it, you just pop your shield and hold block, and generally you'll come out the other side alive, hopefully, if it all goes to plan. Keep in mind to lay down refreshing path, keep yourself heals ticking over on yourself constantly. Now after that, he's going to spawn in a Daedroth, a fire Daedroth like we've dealt with right through the Theatre of Despair. What I like to do is to just to stack on the Daedroth and the boss if possible, and pop a Soul Tether. Now the reason why I pop Soul Tether, it allows us to stay in that spot and spam Sap Essence to keep the DPS rolling. And if you're lucky, you can get the boss down to that 70% threshold rather quickly, and also deal with the ads while you're at it. Now once we've pushed the boss to 70%, he will teleport to the middle and he will ascend to the top arena. Now what will happen next is one of the 4 pads, you'll notice one to the top top right, another one to sort of top leftish. One of those will randomly glow, and there will be a Clenfear, a Spectre Clenfear will spawn in. Now we have to lure that Clenfear next to that glowing pad and kill him within a certain close distance of that glowing pad in order to able to use it as a portal to get us to the top. Now don't underestimate how soft this Clenfear is. Surprisingly, I've killed him in two critical hits, and it can leave you without a portal, which means the portal will despawn and another one will activate, and just waste time, and all the while you're taking damage from AoE attacks, etc, etc. So just be mindful, just lead him straight to the glowing portal and kill him on the spot. But yeah, let's jump right in. Remember to always lead in with a heavy attack when possible. Normally we'd position ourselves over that health regen sigil and take it directly after that heavy attack. Follow him to where he teleports to, interrupt that channeling attack, and immediately stack on the portal where the Daedroth will spawn. Pop Soul Tether, which enables us to heal through that AoE attack quite comfortably, and just like that we've burnt him down to 70%. So there's our Spectre Clenfear. DPS him, make sure he dies next to the portal, and that leads us to the top. And again, we'll pause it here. So when we load into the top arena, you'll soon notice that there are 3 crystals that we'll need to destroy in order to get back down into the bottom arena and to continue to DPS the boss. The boss won't take any damage while we're up in this arena, so it's important not to waste your time DPSing the boss. So as soon as you load in, you want to move, turn to the left and lay down your AoE directly onto the crystal to your left. And it's important to know that there are a few mechanics up here that we need to know about in order to survive. For one, the boss will immediately load into a heavy attack. You can see him in the top left corner charging it now. Now the attack is visual, and there's also an audio cue for this, and then once you get attuned to it, and trust me, I've died up here that many times, done it that many times, your brain just gets attuned to what's going on. The noise, the timing, it just all eventually melts into one, and you'll start to get it. So what we're going to do is we're going to dodge roll to avoid the attack, because it will knock you back, knock you off the top arena, and then we'll have to go through the process of killing ads, killing the Clenfear again to make our way to the top. Another mechanic is that you'll constantly slowly take damage, so and this damage will gather, it's always there, it's a lingering damage, and it gets stronger the longer you are up here. So it's important to know that we don't want to be up here any longer than necessary. This will be a DPS check, so keep that in mind, but if you've made it this far, you've definitely got the DPS to handle up the top here. So and another lot of mechanics that happens will be meteors, I do believe, that will drop if you sit in the one spot. So you'll see me strafe from one side of the crystal to the other side, to the other side, and it's just training those meteors to where I want them to be. Every now and then you might have to wear one, and I suggest you just hold block, apply your shield, and block. Another mechanic is that after a certain amount of time, he will charge up a heavy attack, but then there will be a wall of rocks that will spawn on the inner edge of this arena, and it will be moving at first. The first time it happens, the mechanic happens, it will be moving quite slowly. It's quite easy to make it to it, and it generally the first time spawns sort of in that third that we're looking at the moment, that third of the arena. So and your brain will know when that's happening, but you've got to keep an eye out for it and look for it. On top of all that, you're going to have to keep funnel health up, keep refreshing path up, keep them self heals in order to beat that lingering damage that is always there. It's always there, and it gets worse and worse, so you've got to heal through it, whether it be shields, self heals, or both, like I do with the Nightblade. I generally don't use an ult up here, but you can if you have to. Definitely use it, and hopefully if you've DPS quite quickly, hopefully your health regen sigil has still got a little bit left over when you get up here, because that definitely helps too. But we'll continue on and I'll talk our way through the mechanics as we go. So we dodge roll the boss's heavy attack and lay down an AoE and just DPS the first crystal down. Now the rock wall has spawned, he's charging his big heavy attack, his knockback attack, so we get in behind the wall, it protects us, and then immediately he'll charge another heavy attack. Gotta keep an eye out for those, and he'll do another one here in a minute. You see him charging it. Now all this is happening, gotta keep our heals up to keep that damage over time healed up. Now I chose to run in the opposite direction to catch this rock wall because I would not have caught it otherwise, and I feel I wouldn't have made it. So burning down this last crystal, and we're about to head back down to the bottom arena. So when we get back down to the bottom arena, the boss will teleport to a random location, generally on the outside of the arena, and from there we can do one of two things. We can either run directly to him and interrupt him. Generally you do this if he is close to you, or if the shield sigil is closer to you, then you can run straight to the shield sigil, take the shield sigil, and let him continue to do his attack, because then it just gets bounced straight back at him, and it helps you in your DPS, because then in turn it deals him damage. So now while we're down here, a few things are going to happen. As you can see, the mage to our right there, I have a tendency to ignore the mages. I can kite them. You're also going to get channeling mages that will spawn and slowly walk down toward the middle and channel on a ruin in the middle. Just like in the previous stage, if they channel on that ruin enough, it will spawn a big atro. It's one thing we don't want. So if your DPS is high enough, you can actually ignore all the mechanics and just DPS the boss. I've never been comfortable doing that, so I always just continue to roll through the mechanics. So I kill the channeling mages, I kill the Daedroth when it spawns, and also a big must is collect the gold spectres when they spawn, okay? So we can get that spectral explosion. So let's continue. So we're fortunate enough for the boss to spawn directly in front of us, so we interrupt him, grab that spectral ghost, and go into DPS. Be sure to watch out for those heavy attacks. You can dodge roll them, burn these mages down, and don't be afraid to take that shield sigil, will help out immensely, and you should time it in for when the Daedroth spawns. Now, a bit of a derp here, I do have a spectral explosion up here, but I don't use it here. I was too busy concentrating. I knew I had a soul tether up, and I used it here. I got them all three ads all at one hit. It worked out well, but by all means I should have used that spectral explosion. But I just burned this ad down, then I popped a spectral explosion, and which gives us good DPS time on the boss. Now he's in execute range here very quickly, so we proceed to execute him down. But just keep in mind, don't be a fool like me, keep your buffs up. As you can see, I failed to do so. But we get there in the end, and it clears clear. So guys, just remember that your sigils will stack, so I strongly recommend the shield and the attack sigil in that final phase. Helps out a lot with the burn. And as always, you get crappy loot, but that's just a given. Now our score is not the greatest, but we're here for a clear or for farming. Ignore your score, trust me, that will get better in time. And at this point guys, we're done, and I'd just like to thank you all for watching, Now, if I could offer any more tips, it would be to take those sigils. They're there to help you, and they will. They're very strong. Take them as you need them. And the other thing is don't quit. Just keep at it, guys. As you complete a stage, if you finally get through, just go away from it. Give it a break for a day or two, and then go back to it with a clear head. No one comes into here and gets it clear straight up. It just doesn't happen. Just keep at it. You will get better. This does get easier, and you'll be farming it before you know it. So again, thank you very much, guys. Peace out.
You look splendid. Simply